And now, here to let you know there is no perfect movie, here is Tyler Wolff.
Thank you, Caleb. What's going on, everybody? I'm Tyler, and in completing all the films that I saw at TIFF 2018, I'm here to let you know that First Man is no perfect movie. And it centers around the life of Neil Armstrong, ranging from his very first test flight with NASA in 1961 up until the fateful moon landing of 1969. And it's also a reflection of the personal and professional demons that Armstrong went through over the course of his career and how he chose to deal with them. First Man was the movie that made me want to go to TIFF so bad. I'm a huge fan of Damien Chazelle, and I love the fact that he's branching off to other genres as opposed to just focusing on movies about music. I love Ryan Gosling as an actor, and I thought he was an excellent choice to play Neil Armstrong. And I was looking forward to seeing Claire Foy as his wife, too, especially after seeing the trailer. And seeing this movie in IMAX added so much to the experience. I had a ton of fun watching this movie. I'm not sure if this is my absolute favorite because I said in my Boy Erased video that I thought that was the best film that I saw, and right now I stand by that, but this is a really close second for me. Because this movie hooks you right away, just in the first 5 minutes where we see Armstrong's first flight test for NASA, and it goes to show just how well of a director Damien Chazelle is. The flight sequences in this movie are incredible. And they feature a lot of filmmaking techniques that I'm not usually a big fan of, like quick cutting or handheld or shaky cam work. But I think what makes it stand out in this film is that as I was watching it, I sat there and I looked at these images and I'm like, is the camera moving at all, or is the camera standing still and the surroundings are moving along forward? Because when you're in a shuttle and you're taking off into orbit, things are very blurry. You can't really get a good grasp on what's happening right away. But at the same time, it also conveys the fear and anxiety that these astronauts are going through because they're not, at the time, even sure if these missions are even going to work. And the camera work puts a lot of focus into just how uncertain and paranoid these astronauts are in a given situation by using a lot of really good POV shots, especially when characters are leaving the atmosphere and their spacecraft are operating using a bunch of different maneuvers. It really puts you in this state of unease and tension, and it adds so much to the experience. There are a lot of wide shots that show just how vast and empty space is. The effects, as far as I know, are absolutely seamless. If there were any obvious shots using CGI, I didn't even notice, because either way, space just looks beautiful in this movie. And as expected, the performances were all top-notch. Ryan Gosling as Neil Armstrong. Great work as usual, but a lot more withdrawn than he usually is as an actor, because as this movie portrays him, Neil Armstrong seemed to have been a very isolated man in regards to dealing with certain problems, because the main focus on him as a character in this film are about the things that the public itself wouldn't generally know. And there are certain tragedies that happened to him early on in his career that I had no idea going in, but it really made me understand him as a person, and it reflected the fact that for all the good that he has done for the world, there were a lot of negative flaws about him that made him human. And it fits with Damien Chazelle's previous films because he loves to focus on characters whose flaws were just as interesting as their positive traits. He was a very emotionally sensitive man who had a huge circle of friends and loved ones who were willing to listen to his problems, but the pain was just so deep in these tragedies that it was just hard for him to talk about it to anyone. And that's where Claire Foy's performance really shines, because she is the supportive wife that you see in a lot of other movies, and she's good at doing that performance without making it seem annoying. But she also has her limits. There are times where she will tell Neil that if you don't talk about this to anyone, you're gonna hurt them along with yourself. And no matter how hard he tries to ignore it or avoid the situation, he knows that he can't beat it, and he knows that he has to address certain things to his family, to his friends, in order to succeed just in life in general, not just as an astronaut, but as a person. And it is true that some of the side characters don't really get a lot of depth, and it does downgrade the film a little bit, but to be fair, this cast makes the most as they can with just the little amount of detail, and they still leave memorable performances. Kyle Chandler as the head of NASA, Corey Stoll as Buzz Aldrin, and my favorite out of these side characters was Jason Clarke as Ed White, who, in the very few moments that he has to shine, does show that he has similar problems of emotional withdrawal, but he's a lot stronger than Neil when it comes to facing up to these fears. But it is true that a decent amount of side characters do still get the shaft when it comes to character depth, especially the third astronaut who goes up with them to the moon. I don't know the astronaut's name. I don't know the actor who was even involved. I would have liked to. I mean, I'm sure there were some similar traits that he had with Neil and Buzz. But all that aside, TIFF 2018 ended with a bang with First Man. The flight sequences and Damien Chazelle's direction itself were incredible. Ryan Gosling, Claire Foy, Chandler, Jason Clarke, all really good actors, all gave really good performances, whether they had a lot going for them or not. And for that reason, I'm going to give First Man a 4.5 out of 5. Guys, thank you very much for watching my TIFF reviews. I had a ton of fun going, I had a ton of fun making them, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say when these movies come out in general release. And be sure to stay tuned this upcoming Friday. I'm going to be having a video talking about my overall festival experience and whether or not I would like to do so in the future. Alright, Caleb, tune us out.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more No Perfect Movie reviews.